Okay, I'd like to talk to everybody just real briefly about um, this week's discussion assignment, and it's very straightforward. The first thing is that I've got you all divided into groups according to the challenge that you selected. Um, Many of you chose to deal with procrastination. That's always a good one to take on. Some people wanted to gain weight. More people wanted to lose weight. Some people wanted to eat healthy in a healthy manner. Some people wanted to work on emotional health, mental and emotional self care issues, and so on. So I was able to find a discussion group for just about everybody. Um, there was um, there was one that it just seemed to me that where it fit was that people were trying to develop a new skill or to work on a skill that they had. So I think I found a place for everybody. So what I would like for you to do for this week is, number one, introduce yourselves to one another, and and talk about who you are as a person. Talk about the challenge that you've taken on, and of course, they're all basically, if you did procrastination, then you know that you're taking that on. But explain why. What makes that meaningful to you, and why you selected that over over something else. So that's probably the main thing that I want you to do this week. But since everybody, I think, has to deal with the issue of procrastination to one degree or another, if you're going to, for example, if you're going to exercise more, um, you can't put that off. You've got to go in. You've got to make it happen. Um, you know, as many times as you've sort of told yourself that you're going to do. So if you're going to work out, say, 4 times a week, you've actually got to get into RPAC or wherever it is that you're going to be working. Um, and that may not be easy for you to do. If it were easy, you would already be exercising regularly and doing the thing that you're sort of challenging yourself to do. So let me talk a little bit to all of you about procrastination and how to deal with it. Procrastination is something that almost all of us have to deal with, and it's not a function of being lazy. It's There's other things that work. In fact, one of the reasons that I think people procrastinate is because whatever it is that they want to do is so important to them that they have a fear of failure at it that prevents them from going near the task. That's one thing. Another one is that the task seems so big to them that that it sort of seems insurmountable. And the way that you deal with that aspect of it is to break it down into smaller parts, and don't think that you've got to do the whole thing right away. For example, um, when I this is okay. This is a something that I use a lot to deal with procrastination. If there's a task that I don't particularly want to do, what I make is an agreement with myself, and one of the most useful ones is to create what's called an unschedule. The idea is you pick a goal that you can reliably hit. For me, it's about research and writing. Okay, some days I feel like doing it. A lot of days I really don't. But I figure out how much time I can devote to it, depending on whether I'm teaching or whether it's the summer or whatever. If I'm teaching, there's less time I can devote to it. If it's summer, there's more time that I can devote to it. But in any event, what I do is I set aside an amount of time that I can work on something. Let's call it 2 hours. Okay. Um, then there are certain rules that apply. The first thing is to work in increments of 30 minutes. Okay. And 30 minutes of concentrated work. If you need to get up and go to the restroom during that time, or you want to stop and get a cup of coffee or whatever, is note the time that you stopped, because that time doesn't count toward the 2 hours. But try to work in increments of 30 minutes. And then you might go away for an hour and a half or whatever, and then come back and then work, for at least another 30 minutes or an hour, or an hour and a half at this point, if you can go straight through and get it done. But once you hit that target, stop. Don't go farther than that, because what you want is a target that you can reliably hit over and over and over again, so that you have a sense of winning at this task. And what will happen if you have a good day? Let's say I'm on a roll, and I think I can work, 3 hours, 3.5 hours, or whatever. And I just feel that way. I still stop at 2 hours, because if I go over 2 hours and go for three and a half, then on that one day, then what you start to get is a psychological sense that what your role really should be is 3 hours or 3.5 hours. And if you can't hit that target every time you get there, you're going to have a sense of failure rather than a sense of success. And this gets at something that is important, which is what you need right now is a series of wins. You need to show that you can set a target and you can reliably hit it. If it's exercise, and then if the goal that you can reliably hit is, say, 20 minutes of exercise a day to start with, do that 20 minutes, okay? Because what the alternative is you're going to set a longer period of time, let's say an hour workout or whatever, which is kind of normal once you're in the habit of working out. But if you're not, and an hour is too long for you, it's just unrealistic. You might think, well, if I had the character, I would do it. No, pick 20 minutes, okay, and then do that, and then you'll see yourself hitting that target reliably over and over again, and you'll begin to see yourself as a person who can push themselves and do well with this challenge. So start with 20 minutes, then stretch it out to 25 minutes, half an hour, whatever it is that you think that you can reliably hit. But the important thing is to do it. There are sort of games that I've played with myself in terms of exercise. One of them, when I used to go to a gym, was that I would roll out in the morning. I'd wear my gym clothes, and then I'd head on to the gym. There's one about 2 or 3 miles from me that I used to go to, and then all I had to do was to arrive in the parking lot. I didn't have to go in. I didn't actually have to work out. All I had to do was drive into the parking lot, and that would do it. Well, you make that kind of deal with yourself, and most of the time, what'll happen? Well, I'm already here. I might as well go in and work out. But but you make a different deal with yourself. When I have to do housework, I don't like doing housework very much. So what I'll do is I'll set aside 30 minutes to work on an area, and all I got to do is work for that 30 minutes. And then what happens is I just work as rapidly as I can for 30 minutes and see how much I can get done. And when I'm done, it's over with. And it's amazing what you can get accomplished in 30 minutes time. But you want to see yourself gain success in this area, because you can build on that. Something else that you want to do is, let's say if your goal is to eat in a more healthy kind of way, tell yourself, I am a person who eats in a healthy way. I'm a person who eats good food. I'm a person, or if it's exercise, I'm a person who works out. I'm a person who takes care of their body, and put it in positive terms. Because if you put it in terms of I should be doing this and such, your brain doesn't process that. That's not motivating. But if you put it to yourself in a positive kind of way, your brain can process it. There's actually a literature on this. They've actually done experiments, and that kind of thing works. We all have a kind of an internal monologue. So sort of things we tell each other, things we tell ourselves, all the time. And pay attention to these messages that you're sending yourself. And when it comes to this challenge, send yourself a positive message. I'm a person who is doing this, not a person who can do it or should do it or whatever, but I'm a person who is doing this. Observe your behavior. That's an important part of things. With me, when it comes to eating, one of the things that I try to notice is, okay, when I'm not eating right, I don't beat myself up for it. I ask myself, okay, why are you making this choice in this particular situation? For me, something that's a trigger is if I'm under stress, I tend to, to eat. That's just kind of the way that I handle things. And you don't beat yourself up for, for something like that. You just recognize the cue that causes you to, to eat when you're not particularly hungry, or eat crappy kinds of food or whatever, and work on that. Work on, trying to get around that cue, making a different choice when when you want to to stress eat or whatever. Begin to notice the kind of situations in which you do eat more. If you're around people and socializing, then then you get these cues to eat more, to eat pizza, to snack out, and this kind of thing. Everybody else is doing it, and so you're going to feel like doing it too. You'll need in those situations to to have a game plan about how to handle it. Either know that you're coming up with the social event and eat sparingly to get ready for it, or recognize that when you get into that situation, you're going to want to eat more just because in a social situation, that's what people do, and come up with a different plan. Just make up your mind that, in this particular instance, other people can eat, and you're going to continue to eat in a healthy kind of way. There is one book. I don't think I can make it work. Yeah, it's just not, it doesn't work with the virtual background. But the book is called The Willpower Instinct: How Self-Control Works, Why It Matters, and What You Can Do to Get More of It. It's by a PhD, by a psychologist named Kelly McGonigal. She teaches at Stanford University. And some years ago, she began to teach a course on the psychology of willpower. And she had, she just packed them in with students and other people in continuing education, all kinds of folks who wanted to learn more about gaining more willpower, because just about all of us feel like we could use more willpower. So if there's one book that I think that you should get to help you with this assignment, it is The Willpower Instinct by Kelly McGonigal. I saw on Amazon that you can buy a new paperback copy of it for about $10 or $11. You can also get used copies for a song. I saw some of them that were in decent shape for like $2 plus shipping. So you're talking about $6 in all for for the book. But it is well worth having. It's not touchy feely stuff. It's not her personal ideas about it. What it is there's a wealth of psychological experiments that have been done on people to to understand why people behave in the ways that they do. And they've studied people who have a significant amount of willpower and how it is that they get it. They've studied things that help people to gain more willpower. They've studied things that cause people to sort of undermine themselves. I'll give you an example of something that actually works. If you're going to avoid eating stuff that isn't good for you, then you need to practice that skill. Your mind needs to get used to it. And so one of the things that she suggests, and this actually works, this has been experimentally verified, is, well, exercise that part of your mind that can say no to food. And so what I got, and this is kind of what was recommended, is I had got me a jar, and I put a Snickers bar, a good sized Snickers bar in it, and I just walked past it, for days on end. And that actually gave my brain practical exercise in avoiding a food that wasn't good for me. So there's that, and just an array of good hard information in that book. And so I suggest that that you get it. I think I'll have more to say down the line. I'm kind of doing this one on the fly for you because I want you to get started on it. And the main thing to do is to meet one another, talk about the challenge that you're taking on, and so forth. But there's one further thing that I'd like for you to do, and then I'll leave it at that, which is to say, if you've identified resources to help you with the assignment, and you're supposed to have done it, share those resources with others and work together to identify additional resources that you can use, additional information, or additional places that you can go on campus to get assistance with whatever it is that you're working on. Because I guarantee you, all over campus, anything that you want to do, there is a place in the university that will help you do it. So find those places and make use of those resources. You're already paying for them anyway with your tuition and your other fees. So do that. And then finally, there is a tremendous resource that's already available to you, and that is each other. Encourage each other. Be accountable to each other. Treat each other the way that you would like to be treated. Encourage one another. If you do those kinds of things and help each other out, you're going to make much better progress than you would make if you were just doing things on your own. So take advantage of the fact that you've got other people to talk to about this, and other people who are working on the same challenge that you are. Okay, I think that's enough for this week. You understand what I'd like for you to do, and next week I'll probably have a series of videos, one for each of your groups and the tasks that you're undertaking. But for this one, this is information for all of you. Okay, take care, and good luck with your assignment, and enjoy getting to know one another and working with one another. Okay, bye-bye.